Welcome to Barbara's Bulletin, the podcast that brings you the most pressing and thought-provoking stories from around the world. I'm your host, Barbara, and I'm glad you're joining me today. We're starting off with a developing story that's caught our attention, and it's coming from Sudan. The city of el-Fasher, in the Darfur region, has been at the center of a brutal conflict between the Sudanese army and the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces, or RSF. According to reports, the RSF has taken complete control of the city, which is being seen as a potential turning point in Sudan's civil war. The situation on the ground is dire, with hundreds of thousands of civilians trapped and facing severe food shortages, lack of access to healthcare, and ongoing violence. The United Nations has warned of a terrible escalation of violence, with Emergency Relief Coordinator Tom Fletcher stating that civilians are being shelled, starving, and without access to food, healthcare, or safety. The conflict in Sudan has its roots in a power dispute between the country's de facto ruler, Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, and RSF leader Mohammed Hamdan Daglo, which erupted into violence in April 2023. Both sides have been accused of committing serious human rights violations, and the international community is calling for an immediate ceasefire and an end to external interference. UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres has weighed in on the situation, stating that foreign actors should stop fueling the conflict by providing weapons to the parties involved. He's also emphasized the need for a political solution to the crisis, which has created one of the world's biggest humanitarian crises, with over 12 million people displaced and 24.6 million suffering from acute hunger. As we continue to follow this story, it's essential to remember that the conflict in Sudan is complex and multifaceted, with deep historical roots and regional implications. We'll be keeping a close eye on developments and bringing you updates as more information becomes available. We'll be right back with more of today's top news on Barbara's Bulletin. Welcome back to Barbara's Bulletin. We're glad you're still with us as we dive into our middle segment. Today, we're taking a closer look at an upcoming trip by Pope Leo XIV, the first American pope in history. According to reports, Pope Leo will be visiting Turkey and Lebanon next month, where he'll meet with Orthodox Christian leaders and pray at several historic sites. The main reason for the trip is to mark the 1700th anniversary of the Council of Nicaea, Christianity's first ecumenical council. The Pope will travel to Vegnik, a town southeast of Istanbul, to pray near the archaeological excavations of the ancient Basilica of St. Neophytos. He'll also meet with Turkish and Lebanese leaders, as well as Catholic clergy, and celebrate Mass on the Beirut waterfront. One of the most significant moments of the trip is expected to be the Pope's visit to the site of the 2020 Beirut port blast, which killed at least 218 people and devastated large swaths of the city. The blast was a result of government negligence, and an investigation into its causes has repeatedly stalled. The Pope's visit is seen as a gesture of solidarity with the people of Lebanon, who are still recovering from the disaster. It's worth noting that the Pope's itinerary does not include a visit to the landmark Hagia Sophia monument in Istanbul, which was converted back into a mosque in 2020. Instead, he'll visit the nearby Sultan Ahmed Mosque, also known as the Blue Mosque. The decision not to visit Hagia Sophia has been seen by some as a sign of respect for the Muslim community in Turkey. We want to hear from you. What do you think about the Pope's upcoming trip? Do you think it will help to improve relations between Christians and Muslims in the region? Share your thoughts with us on social media using the hashtag Barbara's Bulletin. And that's all for this segment. We'll be back with more news after this break. Stay tuned for our final story of the day, right here on Barbara's Bulletin. Welcome back to Barbara's Bulletin. As we wrap up today's show, I'd like to bring your attention to a developing story that's been making headlines in recent days. It appears that the conflict between Russia and Ukraine has taken a new turn, with both sides engaging in drone strikes and countermeasures. According to reports from the Moscow Times, Russia claims to have downed 193 Ukrainian drones overnight, while Ukraine has reportedly launched its own drone strikes on Russian oil refineries and energy infrastructure. This escalation in tensions has led to concerns about the potential for further destabilization in the region. It's worth noting that the situation is complex, with both sides presenting their own narratives and justifications for their actions. The Russian government has attributed the recent spike in fuel prices to panic buying and seasonal demand, while Ukrainian officials have emphasized the need to defend against Russian aggression. As we strive to provide a balanced and nuanced perspective on this story, it's essential to acknowledge the human impact of these developments. Civilians on both sides are likely to be affected by the ongoing conflict, and it's crucial that diplomatic efforts continue to seek a peaceful resolution. In related news, Russia's Energy Minister Sergei Savilyov has pointed to consumer panic, refinery maintenance, and seasonal demand as factors contributing to the summer fuel price spike. However, independent analysis suggests that Ukrainian drone strikes have played a significant role in disrupting Russian oil refineries and forcing shutdowns at several major facilities. As we conclude this segment of Barbara's Bulletin, I want to encourage our listeners to stay informed about this evolving story and to consider multiple sources when forming their opinions. It's essential to approach complex geopolitical issues with empathy, critical thinking, and a commitment to understanding different perspectives. That's all for today's Barbara's Bulletin. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and until next time, stay engaged.